Yes. And then here we are. Welcome so much, my beautiful audience, to the new episode. This is a really a special episode for me because this person and his book and everything that is connected with this subject became really a big part of my life, passionate subject, and it helps me on daily basis, really, because especially with my OCD and sometimes really severe episode of OCD, I'm just asking myself one day why I haven't discovered it earlier. Maybe I could spare so many hours of crying, but now at least if we are listen to the voice of universe, we also should trust that everything is coming when we actually are ready, right? So yes, but I'm so happy that we have the great teachers on our earth like Magnus, and now I would like to welcome you to our episode of Diversity is the Game Changer, and I gave the title of this episode. Magnus will be smiling now, I'm sure. The art of stillness in a noisy world. And that's why, because I'm so grateful for his beautiful gift to me. It's his book, which I love so much. It's so used book. It's like my sister. We are traveling. It's very used. It's actually new, but it's already so much used, so it kind of doesn't look like new. But I mean, for author, it's the best, right? To see that the book is so used. It's like lining and everything. So okay, so the book, please, guys, really highly recommend it. It's not just because I've got it like a gift, but I really use it, and my kids, they know the art of stillness in the noisy world, and many rules I actually use it every day, and it's huge game changer for me. So our title, like you understand, devoted to this book, and oh my god, it's so much valuable knowledge from this book, and we will be talking about this, about new definition like forest bathing, enveloping. Oh my god, I love these words now, and I'm using them. And I'm very excited to welcome today's incredible guide and mentor, Magnus Fridh. Magnus, do I say correctly Fridh? It's just Fridh?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, you says it perfect.
Okay.
Yes, it means peace in Swedish.
Yes, I understood. I remember we were laughing. You remember during our workshop. A true leader in the realms of meditation, yoga, and emotional resilience. With unwavering dedication to holistic well-being, Magnus has spent years perfecting practices that help individuals achieve lasting peace, balance, and personal growth. Beyond his work as a yoga and meditation teacher, Magnus is also a brilliant author. I know that, and creator of professional development tools, including the meditation app and ADHD calendar, designed to help people navigate life with clarity and purpose. So welcome to the podcast, Magnus.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I would like, it's already kind of tradition, and I'm so particularly happy to address this question for you, because I remember very good. I believe it was last of the day of our week, because me and Magnus were participating in a very special event. It was anniversary of yoga festival in Norway. Yes, it's where we actually know each other, right? And this workshop or presentation I was participating I probably was last day when you told about
It was
your
last day, yes.
brother from Nepal, right?
Yes.
We, all of us, I remember, we kind of believed, because everybody loved your practices, unless everybody wanted to be participated. It was really a line. Everybody wanted piece of you, and then we were like sitting, and everybody started talking. I remember my emotions, like, oh my god, really? So that's why I know you have very cool, special, exciting story about your kind of special and unique. It was already youth, right, when it's happened with this brotherhood. But okay, I'm not opening story. You will be inspiration for that. But my first question about little Magnus, about this guy, about his inspirations, dreams, how he was drawing his life when he was a small boy, and I know already, like, you know, that you have also special, like me, neurodivergence, right? But can you also share with us about young age and how your development impact your career and mindset and your grown-up life? So please feel free and just
Mm,
no limitations. Your stage.
mm. It's a good question. It's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So, as a kid, I was very, I'm grown up at the countryside in Sweden.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of time out in nature and archipelago, and I always felt at home at those places. Always felt safe in nature and close to the ocean. So I'm pretty much a small town boy, and I was a lot into sports when I was a kid. I was very, very active, and yeah, I can remember my childhood as very, very nice and very safe, and I was a bit already at that time. I was a little bit, how to say, geeky. I was a lot of into details in sports and details in music, and so that is something that I had in my setup already then. But then also I remember that very early on I had a lot of restlessness.
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling of sometimes not belong to, and I think that's pretty much when I was a little older. I was drawn to a specific kind of music, like punk music,
Mm-hmm.
and and the creativity and doing yourself culture that was involved in the punk culture. Um, and At the same time, my mother, as you already told a little glimpse about, my mother, she was very interested in culture, not in meditation and not in religion at all,
Mm-hmm.
but she was interested in culture. So, by coincidence, in the small city where I'm grown up, she was in a waiting room for waiting for a hairdresser or a doctor or something. I don't know exactly. And she picked up a magazine there, and it was a big article about Tibetan exile Tibetan children that are grown up in exile in Nepal and India, since Tibet as a country is occupied. Um, the Chinese occupation that started 1950, something like
I heard before you see my TV again. Totally goes, but I'm like, oh my god, I really everything now is bombed. Sorry interruption, but I could not
No
interrupt.
worries. Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
So, so, so in this article, my mother got so interested in, oh, how wonderful. Even if those kids, they have this destiny that they have
Mhm.
to leave their home country, and many of them became orphans and had no mother and father. But still, because of Dalai Lama's clear dedication to schooling and learning and becoming how to say uh, get an education. They got this new chance, and SOS Children's Village was a big actor at that time, and that was also written in the article. So when my mother came home, she called the SOS Children Village and told them that I want to become a sponsor of a
Mhm.
Tibetan child in particular, um, and so happened. So this was much earlier than my first memories. So the boy that became our sponsor child and my godbrother, so to speak, was Karmat Sering was his
Mhm.
name, and he is a couple of years older than me. So ever since this childhood that I told you about, I always been aware that I had I have had this peripheral brother in another country.
Yeah.
And very early on, we were swapping paintings and swapping letters, and I could learn to write some English. and sometimes I was jealous at him because my parents sent a lot of gifts, and so on. My mother was really, she was doing, she put a lot of compassion and empathy and dedication into this particular thing. And then let's jump. When I was a teenager, this restlessness that I felt when I was younger, it more and more debuted on the surface of me. And I felt, when I think about my age in between like 13 and 18, 19, I don't have so lot of good memories always, because I felt this feeling of don't feeling that I belong, restlessness, and also followed by a lot of inner stress and worries, and a lot of rumination. I had a lot of rumination about existence and stuff like that. And I started to read a lot. And at that time, I had no like northern star that I can navigate, that could lead me on the path. But I was lucky, because at this time, my mother invited Karma, my god brother, to Sweden to stay with us for 3-4 months actually.
Yes, I
So
remember you said that.
yes, so it happened. So did happen. So all of a sudden, this boy that I heard about from my early age, and we've been swapping paintings and writing
He became
letters, and
real, right? He
it
became real.
became real. And it was such, at first glance, the cultural shock was immediate for Karma, because this was, you have to remember, this was before internet. So he came to Sweden and he couldn't even imagine. At that time, he lived in the mountains up in northwest India in a district called Uttar Pradesh. So it was quite a big cultural shock for him to take a shower under warm water, and to face the cold Swedish winter, and to see the ocean for the first time in his life, and so on and so on. And of course, to meet his sponsor mother, that put so much love and compassion into this over the years. So it was very touching to see their meeting. And then we spent a lot of time together, Karma and me, and we became close friends. And also, I think we both felt early on, how to say, a brotherhood feeling, because it was like we were taking care of each other. And we very early on we decided that now he's in Sweden, so when I leave school, I will go to visit him in India, and he will show me India and Nepal. And then, like all Tibetans, are so dedicated to Dalai Lama, and he's a big spiritual, and at that time also political leader. He told me so much about his philosophy, how that philosophy had an impact on his life and on the Tibetan people in general's life. And I was so, I don't know why, but at this moment I was so open for all the things he said. So I remember he gave me a couple of books, and in one of the books written, autobiography about Dalai Lama, there were some simple instructions how you can meditate. So from that simple instructions, I started my first how to say, slow steps into the path of meditation.
Wow, so many people. How old? It's you. Your age was 19, you said, or something?
I think I was 18, something like that, 17, 18, something like that. Something. I was young, and this was again before the mindfulness revolution in the world. So it was very marginalized. But something in this meeting did have such an impact on me. So I was quite early on, quite stubborn that I'm going to try this. And I can remember still the first 2-3 times that I tested the meditation exercise. It was very simple exercises, but that was a quite radical experience for me, because I could clearly feel. I can't say that it was stable, but it was glimpses. But that was enough. I could feel glimpses that all the anxiety, restlessness, worries, emotions were like fluctuating in me. And behind those fluctuations, I could feel something very, very still.
Okay.
And when I felt that stillness, I felt such a relief. Maybe for the first time in my life, I felt such a relief. I felt like I was just resting in something that was totally safe and totally beautiful, totally light. So together with that experience, and also reading Buddhist philosophy, I can start to understand that what I was experiencing was this the more pure mind, the consciousness, and I could learn that we have that beneath all those flickering thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensation. There is something more stable behind that. And that experience is the core of my why I'm doing this still, actually. Of course, I have a lot of experience, but so that's
amazing.
That's that.
Yes, and now like I showed you, because I remember we were blown up when you were showing the pictures, and you poor guy, you really did it. You made to India, you became sick, you lost your weight, you was like just a peanut like this, but still. And for me it was so touching story, because oh my God, I'm so open heart at that time did it, and I don't believe in coincidence, right? It's always some greater, the greater universe. Let's call it. It doesn't matter who it
karma. It might be karma.
And karma. I remember he came and he never, of course, called your mom like sponsor mom or something. It was mother, and it's still mother.
Yes.
And it's so funny. I remember that you also thought that you still very good friends, not friends, but brothers, and you still very close and visit each other. And sometimes, like he's like your older brother, said that Magnus, you
very
should
much,
ask them
very
that.
much.
It was so lovely. I was like, oh my God.
Actually, I will go there. I wrote to him yesterday. Actually, I will go there next month, and of course I will stay at his place.
Maybe we can make a video. Oh, really? It's
so
lovely.
Of course. And my mother and father, they are still on the photo on the wall. A pale colored photo from the 80s from my mother and father, and he always talk about her like his mother. Yes, absolutely. How is mom and stuff like that. And I when I visited him last time, it was last year, I actually thought about that when I was leaving again. I thought about how another person, in a way, outside our family, called my mother, and I felt how natural I feel that, and I feel it's totally natural, and I feel totally open that we share that name of my mother, so to speak.
Because that is both core values and really feeling and care. Because, like I have adopted 2 kids. I didn't give a birth in my belly, but when they were babies, and one day when it was the right time, when they really became like coming with such questions like, Mom, was it painful to give a birth? Was it painful to breastfeed? Then I understood, okay, now it's the point we need to talk. And then I explained them, there are 2 types of mothers, mother and real mother. Mama can have you in belly, but actually if mama don't do that, let like your mama care all the time, help yes, use attention, time, love, empathy. So it's not real mama. Real mama doesn't have to have you in belly, but you always in the
No.
heart to real mom. So
Mm,
it's
mm,
different things, and it's like you
mm,
saying, oh,
mm, mm.
beautiful that we can
Yes.
establish boundaries, yeah, like
Mm.
So yeah, so we that was your very like first steps in this. But when you meditated first time, was also the impact of karma when he meditating when you were guys together couple of months?
No, no, we
He
didn't. We didn't. He wasn't like many Tibetan people. They are not doing like what we call formal sitting meditation, but they do a lot of rituals. They go to the temple and they do a lot of offerings and
mm,
something called prostrations,
mm,
like more devotional practice. So he's still not up till these days. He doesn't have that strong meditative practice. But when I live by his place, there is a special room dedicated for devotion and for contemplation.
because
So
actually maybe we can call it like special because we are so busy time, but maybe they have mindset that they kind of living by meditating, kind of another approach in their life, in mindset probably, which are
yeah,
so spread, kind of, I believe.
mm,
I know.
yeah,
But
more like that, and they're very close to the. They have this cultural bond
mhm,
to the tradition of the Buddhism. So they're much closer connected to Buddhism in daily life than we are to the Christian religion. So it's a big difference. In all homes, at least where I visited, there are a lot of images of Buddha, and there are a lot
mhm,
of iconography that
mhm.
reminds you throughout the day about Buddha's teaching.
Yeah. Thank you so much. We were talking a little bit about your private life, and now I would like to quote from your book and to underline how much actually good coffee you are doing now, not just for yourself and for feeling, of course, better, for being more present for you and then for your family, right?
Mm.
But actually for the community, because more and more we understand in this very very stressful time we are living now, and never endless list of to do stuff, right? And
Mm.
very tense political situation, and the pandemic of our epoch, it's stress level, right? And
Yes.
so you were written here, which also, of course, I reflected immediately. I just didn't know the statistic, but I mean, we are talking now about Sweden, but I'm sure in Norway and maybe in other countries even a worse situation, because you're saying at the time of writing, the Swedish Work Environment Authority reports that poor health is on the rise of Sweden's workplace. That's for sure. With chronic fatigue syndrome, one of the prevalent outcomes. There are a total of 1.4 million people in Sweden's workplaces suffering from work-related issues. Half of them report feeling anxious, worried, suffering from sleep disorder. And of course, one cause it's mentioned that in this context is boundary between work and private life has been erased. And before we
Yeah.
start recording,
Yeah.
right? So we have already
Mm.
touched the topic. So
Mm.
yes, I know this is the huge problem, and we know it. And
Mm.
in this context, how do you? I know I already experienced myself. Still very first steps, baby steps. But how do you recommend actually people who know it's still a lot of people, they say, you've heard maybe answers, maybe also often that when you tell, yeah, but could you, yeah, have you ever tried meditate or make a little bit yoga? Oh, should I also put that on my list? I don't have time,
Mm.
right? It's
Mm.
typical, but
Mm.
it's typical answer.
Yes. Yes.
And when people
Mm.
maybe try first 2 times, and of course people, they
Mm.
know in our culture, like you should have and perform immediately and get the result,
Mm.
but it's nothing to do with meditation, at least it's
Mm.
practice, right? It's like,
Mm.
so how would you probably suggest or advise people who still probably believe and want to try, but where they should start actually? Because everybody asks me, yes, it's so much information now on the internet,
Mm.
and it was me 2 years ago. I understood I need to do something with my OCD, and many
Mm.
people advised me yoga and meditation, but for me it was chaos because it was so overwhelming. I didn't
Mm.
know at all where should I actually, how I should approach. It was so fearful for me. But you
Mm.
have so long experience. What could you advise to our audience if people still want to try but they're so afraid to fail because they don't know how to start? Thank you.
That's a really good reflection from your
Mm-hmm.
side, and of course, it's first to comment to the numbers you were reading in the book that it even became worse in Sweden. Actually, there's so many spending time home, sick leave because of stress, and
Mm-hmm.
the majority are women in between 20 years and 35, something like that. Is beats the record every year. So
Yeah.
it's a quite emergency situation. Actually, it will also be very cost
Increase.
increase the costs for the society, of course. But yeah, I think one thing that is very important when you come to meditation is maybe to do some reflection first. And I used to call it intention, to
Mm-hmm.
find your intention. And maybe you can do some kind of journaling. You
Mm-hmm.
can take a piece of paper and a pen, and make sure that you don't you're not going to show it to anyone, because if you going to show it, you will start to how to say censor yourself,
Mm-hmm.
to filter yourself. So you have to be very honest, and you can write in positive words that what do you want more of in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So you want more of, say you want more of rest, you want more of uh, time alone, you want more time, more of harmony, peace of mind, and so on. And then according to what you have been writing, you can see if meditation or yoga is the right thing to do, or is it maybe other things you should do. But what I'm saying here is that you have to listen to your inner voice, what
Mm-hmm.
you need and what you long for, and not what you think you need and long for, but what you really hear. And that takes time alone and time in stillness,
Mm-hmm.
because this is very hard for many people to be still, because when they're still, they can clearly feel emotions and the fluctuations of the thoughts. And we all know that there can be a lot of rumination and worries and assumptions about future, but you have to resist that, to stay in that state of stillness, to start to hear the echo of your inner voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be like a whisper. It might come very silently, but if you stay, after some time, you will start having like a dialogue with the true voice of what you need. And 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 what can I say? I already told that when I was a teenager, I felt so I want stillness.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stay this state of restlessness, and I didn't know at that time that I had ADHD, so I had a lot of tics and stuff like that going on. I felt I didn't feel good in my own body,
Mm-hmm.
and my intention was to find that harmony, so to come home to myself. And when you have found your intention, then you can set up a small schedule that fits your to-do list. So wait with a to-do list. First listen to your inner voice. And then you have to look at your calendar. Is it doable to go to a yoga class, or to start with meditation, listen to a podcast guided meditation once a week or maybe twice a week, and then slowly you start. And of
Me.
course you have to navigate the domain and see what teacher resonates with me, and so on. The big advantage with meditation, if we have a look on the research, is that a quite minimum investment will give good results. We talk about 3 times a week, 10 minutes each session. But if you're consistent 3 times a week, 10 minutes per session, you will get some kind of result. And not only by subjectively scaling it, but also they can see on MRI surgery on the brain that after 8-10 weeks, something is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that is also good to rely on those research that is done. So a little bit like that, I think.
Amazingly, because for me, the biggest ever wonder of my life, I've been living the whole life, had no idea that there are two different things, actually, our thoughts and our mind. I never knew that our thoughts, it's not us. They're coming and going. It's like they're never at the present. They're either from the past, our worries, or also our stress about the future, right? But mind, it's holistic. It's much more than that. It's much bigger than that, because this is like, yes, like we are learning through the meditation, especially mindfulness, right? You can imagine it's like I don't know, waves on the ocean, or the sky and everything, that you really need to practice not attachment, or to not judgment. It's maybe already I'm talking a little bit with depth, who people really little bit know what I mean. But for me, if I just can raise their awareness now by state, who will be watching our podcast, that please, if you have never reflected and heard this statement, you are know your thoughts. So please go to, just very easy, go to Google and write, me, I'm not. You will discover the whole new planet. Magnus,
Yes.
are you right with me? Because
yeah, I'm totally right with you.
I was, now I'm 44, yes, and first time in my life I could hear that when I start attending yoga and meditation course, and it was presented for me. And first of all, I was like, what do you mean I'm not here? So of course, I have my thoughts, I'm producing them, but they say, no, you are not in control of them. How you reach and approach them, you can train, but what is bombarding your unconscious mind, you can't. So thank you so much. And
I think there is even a number. It's around 40,000-50,000 thoughts that's going through this network of the ruminating brain called default mode network. It's a daydreaming network. So it just happens. And according to research, neuroscience, they talk about that this tends to go to negativity. So when you're not mindful at a certain object, your mind is wandering. And the wandering mind very often goes towards the negative tasks, because it's a self-referential network. And since we lived many thousand years ago in tribes, this was very necessary to all the time review our role in the tribe, to make sure that we will survive, so to speak.
Yes.
But nowadays that's not the case. But still, when we daydream, there's so big research conducted on this. When we are daydreaming, we are merely thinking negative thoughts. Majority are negative thoughts.
It is, because first time I remember I met my OCD therapist, and the first question she asked me, like, Valeria, do you believe that your thoughts has power? They're really connected, as really most strongly you're going to think this thought now, so it's most likely it happens. And I said, like, yes, of course. So she's like, okay, you really believe if I sit now 2 minutes and think with all my power that I want my husband now to crash in the car accident? I was like, oh, you cannot do that. You really believe if I'm sitting here? I was in shock. For me, it was, I even can write it on the paper. She wrote in the paper, and actually was really in love with husband, and they were going to marry in 2 weeks. And she closed her eyes 2 minutes, and she's like, okay, you really believe? Because I was sitting thinking, now let's call him now and we check. And she said, and even if there is something, what it was coincidence, because your thought has no power, just action.
No.
And I didn't believe. And then she said, okay, let's take another example. If you believe that you and me, we're sitting the same 2 minutes now, and we, with all our power, trying to think that we are going to win in lottery, in bingo. Are we going to win? Me like, no, of course not. She's like, but what is the difference? It's the same thought, but it's negative and it's positive, right? And she said, yes, but we people, we believe in negative thought and their power, but we don't believe in the power of positive thought. But for your brain, it doesn't matter. Your brain doesn't know this word. It's you put label. It's just impulse, which is coming. Wait. I was like, what? So it was,
it's just the mind. Mind is just fabricating all those things. It is very subjective, subjective, according to things to impressions, but also according, of course, to childhood and what you've experienced in throughout life. It's associations all the time, but still, sometimes we think that we experience exactly the same thing when we see, but actually, so that's why attention training is so important. So it's what you direct your attention towards that becomes real, so to speak. That it was what is real for you.
That's why my question was, it was absolutely beautiful and useful tool you have created. You've moved even further, not just like meditating, but also you wanted to help people like you, who, because for you and me, we have neurodivergence. For us, maybe it's even more challenging in the beginning, like, you know,
it is.
as I have my intrusive thoughts. So for me, the beginning meditation was so painful because I literally said yes to give so much space to these painful thoughts, right? And in restlessness. But you've made them meditation app. You shared our story when it was workshop, and even more ADHD calendar. Because I also know one of my kids has ADHD, and now it's so widespread and just raising numbers, right? So could you please share a little bit for our audience, actually, and then I can put also links in our post that they can go and download and maybe also start following you and can reach you and ask questions, maybe some helpful for kids or maybe for them. So could you please tell us about these tools?
Yeah, the first tool was the mindfulness app, it's called. It's also a mindfulness app, and it's available in Norwegian language as well. And that was a very simple app that we did 2010. And it was in the beginning of the history of apps, actually. People didn't know so much, what is this happening? How shall we use apps? And most people, they're playing games like Angry Bird and stuff like that. But we found this idea that we wanted to create a very simple pocket meditation tool that was totally aligned with mindfulness-based stress reduction, the research part of meditation. So we did that, and it's you can listen to guided meditations, you can set reminders, and so on. And the app came out very well. It was right in time, so to speak. We didn't know that. We weren't that strategical. But when I left the company in 2019, I sold my part. It had millions of users, actually, and it's been involved in many research projects. So I'm very proud of that, actually, and it's still out there. And it's free to download, and then there are in-app purchases if you want more courses and in-depth meditations.
How many
How
many languages? I'm sorry.
I think it's like 13 languages, something like that.
Okay,
it's all over. Yeah, we worked very, how to say, dedicated, and we worked with what do you say, authorized mindfulness teachers in each and every country to really validate the quality of the app. So I can really stand behind the content in that app. And then the ADHD calendar, I've done it together with a friend, and we both got our diagnosis when we were grown up. So we were schoolmates. So we started to talk a lot about how our experiences was and what we have struggled with. And then my friend Ola, he got to know research from Oxford talking about that the only way to deal with a to-do list for a person with ADHD is to have a specific system in the calendar where you never, the gist of it is that on the today's list, there should never be things that should be done tomorrow or later on. So it should be very clearly structured that this is the tasks for today, and they shouldn't be too many. And then the app, you can also connect the app with family members so they can help you to remind to do it, so you don't forget. So the research shows that it helps people with procrastination, and it helps people with a short memory that we all have with ADHD. We can remember things from a long time ago, but we can forget things. Like happened for me the other day. I went down. We have a food grocery 20 meters from our apartment, and I left my apartment, and I came into the grocery shop, and I didn't remember why I was there.
Yes.
So that is very typical. The symptoms of my ADHD. But at the same time, same brain can memorize Tibetan texts, Sanskrit grammar, and stuff like that. So it's complex, these things. But of course, mindfulness can help me. And this that I mentioned was a moment where I lost that mindfulness. So and then I'm kind of lost. So an app like this can help you. So open up the app and see, why are you here? You should do this and this and this. And you can check the boxes, and it will give you a relief that you've done your goals for today, and then you can leave it satisfied. Because many people with ADHD, they go to bed and they feel, I should have done 100 things, I didn't do even one. And then you feel bad for yourself. Self-criticism is coming, and the vicious circle just loops on and on and on. So this was what we aimed for, to be some kind of help, and it's just a little part of the big picture of ADHD, but at least it can be to some extent some support.
Amazing, because it's at the end of the day, it's about all small parts, small puzzles, which actually our consist of, right? And if you can give relief and a little bit lighten up the one thing, it's actually the chain reaction. It can give more light and hope to another action, and then you feel more proud. You are depressed because you again not achiever, you again loser, you again not like other. Because I know all these things, and this self-talk, your mind is taking you are not good enough, you're not like others, like it's really about micro changes. They are so important, right? So
micro changes is everything.
Yes, and my question before we start and move into our games. So actually about, because my podcast is called Diversity is the Game Changer. And usually I'm also talking about gender diversity, cultural diversity, but in this very special podcast, and this is, I feel it's so useful for our listeners because you and me, we are two really persons discussing the problems or challenges or special adjustment which can help you and me, because we are the representation, we are displaying neurodiversity, that our brain are wired differently, right? It's actually new emerging diversity, and now I'm also included in my PhD, and we need to raise awareness more and more, because we are so many of us, and we should stay united and help each other, of course. So that's why my last question, also very open, actually big one, of course, but how do you think then, you already of course gave beautiful example how we can help people like us and other neurodiverse people with different tools. But how do you think actually yoga and meditation even more probably can help people with neurodivergence? And again, you already mentioned, yes, but maybe from your book you can probably explain a little bit also another examples of mindfulness which could help people with restlessness, with me like intrusive thoughts, because I know it's beautiful about nature, and you, if we're talking for example about forest bathing, right, or just small things which they also can try in daily basis, which is actually they don't know, maybe they do already, but it's actually kind of mindfulness. Yeah.
Yes, I think to find what resonates with you is very important. And I think if I go back a little bit to you mentioned, you quoted a few phrases before about the problems with the stress. You mentioned that one big factor was that there is no limit in between work and free time.
Yeah,
And
no
I think no boundaries. So I think this is something there to explore. To and that's where mindfulness come in. To be mindful what you are doing. Buddha says it's very beautiful. He says that if you turn around, be mindful that you turn around. If you open up your eyes, be mindful that you open up your eyes. If you inhale, be mindful that you inhale, and so on. So that is mindfulness. So be mindful that now I'm leaving my work and I've come home. Home is a place where you should feel safe, secure. There should be a lot of joy, of course, but also harmony and stillness. That's a place where you sleep, where you love, where you eat, and everything. And if you go into that door and you just keep on being in the works mode, it's very hard to, where does it stop? And here it's, I think we are all victims, kind of victims. I don't think we should be hard on ourselves, because it's also very hard to resist. Nowadays, people, they expect things from you. They expect that you should reply on text messages, reply. So again, boundaries, find. I wrote about in the book that, and I also did a spin on that with a furniture manufacturer in Sweden, where we had like a lecture and we talked that you can dedicate specific furniture in your home for stillness. So suppose that you have like a furniture, a very nice chair or something. On this chair, you never scroll internet. When you enter this place, since we don't have altars and temple in our country, maybe we have to find new how to say it, proved, stress proved furniture or spaces where we are safe from all this. Like you mentioned, the bedroom can be one, but I would even go further. So see, again, you can use journaling as a great tool. Where can you find spaces in your life when it's your decision that I don't want to be available? I don't want to comment on things I have no clue about. I don't want to like or dislike anything. I just want to exist, and I just want to be still, and I just want to be in that mode, because in that mode we know that the activation of the nervous system, the part of nervous system is taking care of rest and digest, is more active. And that's so important. If we're constantly in fight or flight, we will get sick, or we will totally lose direction in life. We will think that we purely exist out of performance.
Yeah.
And existing out of performance is such a sad way of living, from my point of view.
Yes, it's exactly like you. Now I can quote, because I even remember now, I use so much your book, like you said, that could be a place in your life every day, like you're going in the modus from on to off, from doing to being, and from
exactly
this, or even I could say probably from disconnecting, because when we do all the time without reflecting and stopping and actually reflecting what I'm doing now, who I am, can I actually really connect with my inner voice even more? Yes, really, from doing to just being, and even probably from disconnecting from yourself to more in connecting, maybe like this. Yes, so absolutely. And I also just was very interesting for
Because
me.
one thing there that is important is that when you had this experience that we both relate to, the pure mind beyond thoughts, we will come to terms with that we are already perfect. We
Yeah,
are already totally, we exist totally pure and perfect. So I used to describe it as like you've been out traveling and you've been searching for something to solve all your problems, and then finally you come home and you realize, it's been here all the time. And that's the strange thing about this path of yoga and meditation. But it will take you to many places, but sooner or later it will take you back home again, and that's beautiful.
have you read this very nice book by Paulo Coelho? But it was
No.
no, it's actually, I don't know how to pronounce actually right on English. It's Alchemist. Do I say?
Yes, I know very well the book, but I haven't
Yeah,
read it. But it's a
yeah,
very super popular book. Yeah.
yeah. But it's the same basically, because the person was restless and he wanted to find happiness, right? And then he traveled all over the world, and at the end of the day he came back home. But after just experience all that, he understood, oh my god, the happiness was always there. It's like you said,
Yeah.
you should really go through all this experience and find, oh, but all the answers, everything I need, really, it's already inside. I already have it in myself.
Yes.
Really need to discover it, and just to meet
But we
myself.
have to do those things. I mean, when I was young, I had to do certain things to explore and learn and experiences before I could arrive at that place. So we all have our histories and experiences that we have to have compassion with and understanding for. So we don't blame ourselves, because we learn all those experiences and places. We learn us things.
Exactly, and also I like it from this book, because I also, I am kind of nerd, of course. People without nerdy, I don't know, trend cannot have two master degree and PhD like my every student, right? Basically on 6 languages. But I love really also giving food to my mind. Food here, yes,
Yeah.
but I mean like food here even, and I'm so picky and I'm kind of nerdy, but immediately I find new knowledge. I also like use all colors, and even I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. I could find out from your book that in 2017 in live interview, even Hillary Clinton enthusiastically described that she was using alternate nostril breathing, and you and me
Yes.
we know that it's called nadi shodhana, right? It's like you breathe. It's special. If you, our beautiful audience, if you would like to know, even we are not speaking about alien things. Me and Magnus and even Hillary Clinton, you see, because when
Yeah.
she has really felt uncomfort and a lot of stress in 2006 because of we know how was culmination of her loss in the presidential election. So she described that the only really part she was dedicated every single day, it was this it's called alternate nostril breathing. It's just you breathe
Yes.
left and right. So please, if somebody would like to know more, you can ask me or Magnus, or just go and you can again Google. I have no reclam for Google, but yes, we all in the time. So it's called Nadi Shodhana. It's very easy. It's
Very
really
easy.
out, right? So that's why you gave me this knowledge. It was very cool. Now
Yeah, and I can even add on one more breathing exercise that is
yeah.
very easy, that I used to call double as calm. So
Uh-huh.
you double, because when we inhale, the heart beats a little faster, and when we exhale, the heart beats a little slower. And when
Mm-hmm.
we exhale, the rest and digest, the parasympathetic part of the
Right.
nervous system activates. So when we exhale, we become relaxed. You can feel the soothing feeling in your muscles. So double. You inhale for the count of 3, exhale for the count of 6. And you do that for some time, and then maybe add on count of 4 in, exhale count of 8. And then you can see. And every time you exhale, let go of muscular activity and let go of tension and other emotions and thoughts that bothers you. And that's my daily. I always do that before I do my seated meditation practice,
And
just to
I love
lower down.
also your meditation. You have sent me special guided meditation. So by the way, please more than welcome to follow Magnus Konto on Instagram. I can share with you guys, and a lot of beautiful meditation book, everything. And I've tested myself, and because of you now, when even like I'm in the, I don't know, in stressful situation, maybe in airport or some places with a lot of noise, when I try at least 5 minutes to meditate, so I was actually, because of your help, I remember 2 things. It's like to relax small muscles around eyes, right? And because before I have never reflected on that, it's actually big difference. I like really not just eyes, but also you call it, and small muscles, all small muscles on also on your face. It's like when you're aware of that, and you feel really big difference, right? You just,
it's so big difference. Yeah, I actually found that technique myself. First, I did a lot of relaxing the tongue, and I feel that's also very nice feeling, because there's so many nerves from the tongue. But then I had a long time ago, I had a headache, a terrible headache, and it was very centered to one place in the head. And then I started to think like, but what about if I relax all the other areas around that very epicenter of pain? And it took some time, but then after some time, when I also relaxed the eyes and was totally relaxing the eyeballs and all the muscles that can move the eye, I felt such a relief from the headache, and I can feel the pain is still there at one point, but it doesn't bother me so much, because there is a very nice feeling in the rest of the head. So that's how I found that out, and I think it's very effective, very beneficial for stressed out people. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, I think we have done great job to us.
Yeah, good.
Right? We always also, because we are talking to us most in our lives, and I have not had awareness again before I start learning mindfulness and everything. Like you should better be friend with yourself, because it's that voice you're hearing most in your life. And now, of course, we need to play, and everybody is, it doesn't matter. We are old. No, we are never old, right? But I mean, we a little bit more experienced, but we still need magic, and we need to believe in fairy tales. So what this girl, this pink one, reminds you? I bought, this is new one from Morocco, from Marrakesh.
Oh, it looks very nice.
Yeah,
it's like what is like the, what do you say, the spirit comes out of the can.
Yes,
isn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
in our episode should be like Buddha spirit or something, but it's still it's okay. Let's call it genie from the Aladdin, but we can call it
Aladdin.
Buddha.
Yes.
Buddha from Tibet. And then yes, genie, he granted 3 wishes, but let's say Buddha, he is more, we need to work ourselves, so he can just grant 1 wish. What would that be for you today? It can be big, it can be worldwide size, it can be very little, it can be, yes, but just 1 wish from Buddha spirit.
Today,
yes.
Today, 1 wish is, this came very spontaneously after watching the news. A very heavy rain over the west side of USA.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, please, you Buddha, can you please do that? Okay.
Yes. He said yes. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. So our beautiful audience, of course, first of all, I would like to thank so heartfully for Your exceptional work and inspiration, motivation, guidance, help. I know, and for me, big part of help, especially this summer. It was very challenging summer for me. I've
Oh,
shared
I'm
with
happy to hear. Yeah.
Yes, and your wisdom, inspiring presence, which undoubtedly makes profound impact on so many of us. So thank you for our audience, of course, and stay with us, tune with us. If you have any question about topics we've been raising with Magnus, so you can ask me, you can ask him. We will be happy to help. Our today episode, I would like to finish again with help of highlights from Magnus' book, because I love very much, also because it's very helpful to also when you meditate. Also, we have big tool inside our brain, which is called imagination. You really can imagine and travel and do whatever you want. You can heal with your imagination perfectly, but you should, it's practice. Of course, you should believe in yourself and practice. So I love the definition of how you say it more right in English, because to envelope or enveloping. Could you pronounce this word?
Enveloping, yes. I think you
Enveloping.
mean, yeah.
So I love the definition enveloping because I really could imagine that. And or the feeling of silence and stillness you are gaining while you practice in meditation. Just listen and imagine. Better, of course, with close your eyes. It's how I'm doing. And even if somebody can hear us afterwards, you can just train that. I'm suggesting now that your guys, you just close your eyes, and I can quote what actually I love to read and what Magnus described as enveloping. Experience stillness and silence which enveloping you while you meditate. Enveloping. What a beautiful word. Something that doesn't last forever, but which still creates an invisible protective cover that gently holds you in silence without excluding the outside world. In the same way that fog can envelop an entire landscape, or that layers of skin envelop your body. So for me, it's amazing. Sometimes I meditate and I put something warm and cozy, and then I really do like this, and then now I'm in my envelope, and then I really feel from your book, and then I relax the eyeballs and all these muscles and
That's
anything.
beautiful.
I do
I think
Magnus
that's
stuff.
I think that's a nice meditation instruction you give now to make yourself comfortable and you feel safe with something, and then just relax the eyes, relax the tongue, and allow yourself to be in silence and stillness and see what happens. Maybe you don't even try to meditate. Just stay awake. That's the only goal. Stay awake, but be still, and you
Just
will experience a new dimension.
to try just to if people has no idea at all, they just can try to, like you said, be still and maybe just notice your breathing. Just hear how you breathe. That's it. First, maybe tiny advice. First 2 minutes, because maybe last advice I could give, which helped me. Once I read this expression that there is not that big difference if you decide or devoted your time during the day to meditate between like 6 minutes or 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes or 4 minutes, still a little bit, but the point, 3 minutes and 2 minutes, but it's huge difference. It's between 1 minute and 0 minutes. It's right, because even if you start with 1, 2, next day 3, it's already huge difference. You are building something. But 0, then it's
0 is 0.
0.
0
Then
is 0. So get it done. That's very important. And I also think to learn something from you said before. I like that your therapist said something about that. It comes from the same place, even if you think you win in a lottery or your man crash in the car crash. It comes from the same energy. We have to understand that it's a mind that fabricates those things. So one thing is that you can put a lot of compassion into your experiences, knowing that the mind is fabricating this. You're not always. It goes so fast. So you can, I like this. I think this comes from Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist master. He says something like, if you're worried, if you have anxiety, inhale, I am worried. Exhale, I take care of that. Like a mother holding his child. I take care of that. I don't blame myself for feeling those emotions. I take care of it and I hold it and I embrace it. And it's I envelope that experience with love and compassion and understanding instead of being hard on ourselves. I think that's a big problem for all of us, that we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah. So thank you very much again. And just at the end, then I would like, I'm sure Magnus can be sure with me, that we wish you, our audience, that we are envelop you with compassion, and please embrace self-love. We are all worth it. We are more than enough how we are created. So just
Always.
yourself, always. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, and stay tuned.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Magnus.